Hi guys, good evening everyone, and welcome to Secure Chain Fridays, a secure supply chain series. In our previous two videos, we learned about Gripe and Sift, but today we will be learning about the parent of all these, and that's Salsa. So let's get started. I'm Ishwarya Chauhan, and I'm a DevSecOps engineer at Initialize Labs. So on today's bucket list, we'll be learning about what's Salsa, why do we need it, and its different security levels. So how you can adopt Salsa, and we will be learning not only with words but also with the use case where we implement the Salsa framework in a cloud native application. After that, we will move on to learn about initialize.ai and how it ensures supply chain security. So let's get started. So today's agenda is Salsa, securing bills against supply chain attacks. What is the Salsa? I know it is just pronounced like it, but its full form is supply chain levels for secure software artifacts. So it is a framework and it has different security levels. So it gives you a checklist of standards and controls to prevent tampering, improve integrity, and secure packages and infrastructure. But what was the need of it, and why do we need it? Like, why do you have probably heard that software supply chain attacks are increasing rapidly, and that the damage can be devastating. In 2021, we saw a lot of security breaches in supply chain. Both business and security leaders have taken notice and are increasingly motivated to address this rapidly growing attack vector. But where should organizations begin? Because not everyone has the expertise, or not everyone is aware what is the starting point for it. That's where Salsa comes in. It is the security framework and a common language for improving software security and supply chain integrity. It gives you, a to-do list and how you can implement it. It is focused on protecting software from source through its deployment by allowing users to make automated decisions about the integrity of the artifacts that they are using, thereby preventing many possible attacks throughout the supply chain. In the previous few videos, we learned that how the supply chain is affected at the most initial levels and how you can prevent it. And today we'll see what are the gaps are left whenever you are creating a deployment or whenever you are implementing an SDLC. So why do we need it? I just explained it that you need it for making sure that you have the integrity of your cycle. And it is critical to already have checks and best practices in place to guarantee artifact integrity, so that the source code you're relying on is the code you're actually using. So it is, as I previously said, that mitigating risk is better, because prevention is always better than than applying the caution. So this is the whole initial quarter of SDLC, where we process the source code. So these are some of the steps, and at every level you can see that if a bad code is submitted, how it compromises the SDLC at different levels. So at point A, you can see the developer has bypassed the code review, and which in result compromises source control system at point B. Moving on, when the code is modified through the source control, it increases the risk of producing build threats. At point D, we have a compromised build platform. So we have compromised source code integrity, and now we are compromising build platform integrity as well. And additionally, at point E, you can see that dependency are getting injected. So if we are using bad dependencies, the threat is increased. So what are bad dependencies? It can be any dependency or any library or any injection that is not compliant to the industry standards and is not secure, or is operating on previous versions and haven't patched their vulnerabilities. So that is just a gist of bad dependencies. At point F, again, a bundle of mistakes is bypasses CI/CD, and it is getting processed into a into an image, and then this image at point G is sent to the consumer, and he or she or the organization will be consuming that. So this is just the beginning, and you can see that it will get deployed, it will get used by other people, and they are not even aware that they are using a whole code of vulnerabilities. So the now we'll talk about security levels. So Salsa requirements are arranged into 4 levels, where each level further improves the supply chain security posture. The following table, like the following list of levels, will give a high-level description of each of the Salsa levels. And the example will be, you can see the GIFs on the side, and it will be easier for you to understand. So level 0 is that there is no security implemented, and all the you are using a bad code, just like we learned in the last image, that how it is getting processed, and without the security you are compromising the integrity of your code and the whole supply chain at different levels. So that is the least of the levels. So it is better that you implement Salsa step by step. At level 1 is provenance. So I know provenance is a hard word, it is a heavy word. So provenance means attestation of metadata describing how the outputs were produced, including identification of the platform and external parameters. That's what we did when we created software bill of materials, and you have to supply it ahead to the consumer as well, so they are also aware that what you are using. So that is considered as one of the best practices in a supply chain security. It makes easier for both the producer and consumers to debug, patch, rebuild, or analyze the software by knowing its precise source version and build process. So it is like hitting on the root. So and packaging like all the ingredients at one place. So level 2, that is built on level 1. It uses build platforms, so it cuts the hassle, and you don't have to worry about it. So, and the build platforms provide dedicated infrastructure and digital signatures. So these digital signatures make sure the tampering is not taking place, and the build is attack proof. It also reduces attack surface by limiting builds to specific build platforms. Say you are using one build platform and it is securing it completely. So the density of, or you what do you say, the bandwidth of attacks reduces. Also, it can be audited later, and it can be hardened. Like on level 3, we'll learn how it can be shelled overly. At level 3, we add extra resistance to specific threats. In practice, this means that build runs on hardened build platform that offers strong tamper protection by insider threats, or compromised credentials, or any other tenants. In easier word, this level prevents secret material used to sign the provenance from being accessible to the user-defined build steps. It means that this provenance or the digital signature cannot be copied, or you cannot forge it. So it reduces fraud packaging, or just like in logistics, how the logo is very important. Here, the digital signatures are very important. All this includes continuous monitoring, vulnerability scanning, and other security practices, which greatly reduces the possibility of exploiting the supply chain. It is good that we learned all these terms beforehand, so now we can understand how we can implement or adopt Salsa step by step. So now let's talk about adopting Salsa, but this is just a gist. It has a whole huge ramification. So let's talk about it in a nutshell. So you have, first of all, you have to familiarize yourself with the principle and guidelines of the Salsa that I did for you, so you didn't have to worry about it. Now, You have to understand how software artifacts, basically artifacts, are categorized into different security levels based on their sensitivity and criticality. There's personal information, there are credentials that cannot be compromised at all costs, and there are different levels at low, medium, high, or negligible. So you have to first categorize those and then secure them in levels. You have to create a comprehensive inventory of all the dependency used in your software project. That is, you have to create SBOMs, and you have to supply it forward to the consumer as well. This includes third-party libraries, frameworks, modules, and all other components that you're using. You have to integrate secure coding practices into your development workflows. This includes regular code reviews, static code analysis, and dynamic application security testing, or DAST in a short form, to identify and address security vulnerabilities. Also, you have to be informed about security threats. So it's way better that you join a security community and stay aware. So let's talk about a use case now. We have all the terminologies. We are now aware about the guidelines and the principles. Now we'll take a use case where we implement the Salsa framework in a cloud-native application. So the scenario is, say, a software development company or an individual developer wants that specializes in cloud-native applications, want to strengthen their security, and have to ensure integrity and trustworthiness of the software artifacts that they produce and distribute. So that is the scenario. And the objective is, of course, implementing Salsa, generating software bill of materials, and enhance security posture throughout the SDLs. So what will be the steps? These are the list of steps that has to be taken. First of all, we have to assess the current supply chain security level. You have to conduct an initial assessment of the existing software supply chain to identify potential vulnerabilities and weakness. So it is every software has its weaknesses, and there are always gaps and loopholes. So it's better to be at the moment of truth and assess everything, completely audited and documented. And then at a second step, you have to integrate Salsa framework. So you, first of all, just like we discussed, you have to categorize software artifacts into different security levels based on their sensitivity and criticality. There are 3 levels: low, medium, and high. Then you have to implement the generation and inclusion of SBOMs for all software artifacts at different stages of the development lifecycle. It has to be ensured that SBOM provides a comprehensive list of components, dependencies, and their respective security levels. Step 4 is to ensure access controls and encryption has taken place. You have to implement access controls to restrict access to high security artifacts and only to authorized personnel, which means that there is no tampering or nothing, no one gets their access if they don't have any relation to it. And you have to utilize encryption mechanisms to protect high security artifacts during transit and storage. So as we discussed in the diagram, the flow also have the gaps. So it is better that you secure it at the process stage, so it stays secure in the transit stage and also in the storage. It can be a possibility that the consumer is not very aware about how sensitive the data is. So it is better that you implement as a expert, or as an organization, you implement it beforehand. Also, you have to set up alerts for any unauthorized access or modification to high security artifacts. And it is better that you use or incorporate automated testing tools to perform security checks on the code base. So when you eliminate manual labor, you eliminate the possibility of human error, and the tools will take care of it. But make sure that the tools are compliant and it is getting recorded into, it is getting into the Providence stack. Then also, as we discussed, that it is very important that you aware the community, aware your developers, aware your architects, and aware your consumers as well about the security practices. So, and develop documentation outlining the Salsa framework and the security measures that were implemented. If you want, you can also do third-party security assessments, or you can conduct training sessions for your people. Now, of course, these were a lot of, what do you say, so many steps. And these are, for new developers or small startups who lack the expertise, you can always skip the hassle and integrate initialize.ai for your deployment. So you take care of development and innovation, and we take care of deployments and security. So right here is our platform, that's initialize.ai. As you can see, there's a segregated process of SDLC, and you can see the whole stage. So at first stage, we are cloning your repository. We are directly accessing your GitHub repository to package the code. And so at this stage, at this particular stage, we reduce the possibility that you have bypassed the code review. That means it is getting reviewed right here, and it is securely getting packaged, like it is converted into an image securely. At this step, that is software component analysis, of course, as the name suggests, we create software bill of materials of all the components and artifacts that you have used, and we scan it at the scan stage for all the vulnerabilities that can be caused, and we segregate it into different levels. As you can see, we have segregated into 4 levels. That's low, negligible, medium, and high. So this is the first quarter of whole supply chain. See, these are there are many other steps, but if you make sure that security has taken place right in these 4 steps, your application stays secure after the process as well, because you have, as we discussed, you have did a code review, you created an attestation, you are adding the provenance, and you have scanned for vulnerabilities. So that's level on level, you have created a secure supply chain. So with initialize.ai, with our latest release, you can get security up to level 2. That is, there's provenance, and we are scanning and creating SBOMs for you. So you don't have to worry about the steps or the framework. You can just worry about creating the code, and we will take care of security and deployment. So that was mostly about Salsa framework, secure supply chains, and initialize.ai and what it provides. If you want, you can get an early access to initialize.ai by scanning this QR code, and it will redirect you to our website. Not only this, you can also connect to us or connect to me on LinkedIn, or you can join us on our Discord server for any suggestions of new whatever new content we are creating. You can stick to that. If you have any suggestions for me, what I should come up with next, or what do you want to learn about in the cloud native architecture, I'll be happy to create that for you. Otherwise, I'll see you next Friday, right on this time. And do not forget, if you do not forget to like if you like the content, and also subscribe to our channel for our latest releases. Thank you, and have a happy weekend. I'll see you next Friday.